Hi, this is Mike Pucciarelli, and today, from scratch, I'm going to build a light painting photograph. And I already went through the Lightroom and RAW processes of organizing the files and the folders. So we are just going to jump right into Photoshop. So this is the blank, these are the JPEGs. What I'm doing, I'm just light painting 4 mugs together. This is the blank master file. I'm going to have an adjustment layer. I'm going to do some corrections. I'm going to run some actions. I'm looking for my white watermark. I'll lower the opacity of the watermark. Doesn't overpower. Now, what I'm going to do, what I do is I light paint from left to right. So we're going to start over here. I'm going to select something. It's a pretty good selection. I use the object selection. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to paste it in. I'm going to drag it over here. And this is where what I do is I try to stretch it in place. Looks like it is, but I can always change it. I'm going to turn it into a layer mask. I'm going to change the color to gray. I'm going to use a soft brush. Brush I'm going to use is a very soft brush. I'm going to use a soft brush. And I'm going to go to screen. I want to make sure my opacity is at 100%. And I'm going to come over here. I'm going to make it really dark. I'm going to go back to my layers and make sure I'm on the layer. Make my brush bigger. This is the first coat of paints. I want to have some nice three-dimensional lighting. Then the second coat of paints, I change the color of the whites. And then I want to go to overlay. The second coat of paints. And then I want to touch it up. I'm still using the color whites, but now I want to end with soft light. I just Control D to take out the selection. And I think I'm going to try another brush. I'm using the brush. 25, so I'm going to make it a little smaller. I did this smug. Now I'm going to do this smug. I'm going to select it. I'm going to copy the selection. I'm going to paste it. I'm going to go to my layers. I'm going to make it lighter. I'm going to use a Control T, stretch it into place. Then I'm going to turn it into layer mask. I'm going to turn the color of the gray I'm going to go really dark. And when you paint in the lighting characteristics, make sure you're in the layer mask. Now, that's the first coat of paints. Second coat of paints, overlay. I want this nice two-dimensional lighting. And then I'm going to end up with soft light. So we did this one. We did this one, Control D to take away the selection. Now we're going to do this one. Paste it in. I'm going to go to my layers, my levels layers. I'm going to make it lighter. I'm going to fit this in place. I'm going to do Control T to stretch it in place. I'm going to go to my layers. I'm going to turn it into a layer mask by pushing the Alt or the Option key and the thing down here, the circle thing. Make it nice and dark. Then I'm going to turn the color of the gray. Make sure my brush, and I'm going to go screen, blend mode, with the opacity of 100%. I'm going to start painting. And I'm going to change from gray to whites. Then I'm going to go to overlay. I'm painting in more characteristics. So we did this smug. We did this smug. We did this smug. Control D to take out the selection. And then now we're going to do the last smug. I'll do the object selection. Control D. Whoops. I like to use the object selection. A lot of times I like to use the object selection. I like to use a rectangle. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to paste it in. I'm going to go to my layers here and make it nice and white, light. I'm going to move it over. I'll try to fit it in place. And I'm going to turn this into a layer mask. I'm going to go to my layer, my levels adjustment. I'm going to make it really dark with the middle slider. I'm going to change. The first coat of paint is a blend mode of screen. The color is gray. I'm going to paint it. Then I'm going to change the color to white. And then I'm going to use overlay, trying to paint more dimensionality and characteristics. Then I'm going to end with soft light. So basically, the first coat of paint is a gray with the screen blend mode. I paint. Second coat of paint is whites. I do more painting with overlay with the color whites. I keep the color whites, and then I change the color to soft light. And I do more painting. I'm going to close all these JPEGs. I'm trying to paint some characteristics. Now, I'm going to run some actions. Go to my actions. I'm going to run my alder fringe. I'm going to do my dusted and scratches action. I'm going to do my speckled action. I'm going to do my sharpen action. Look at the history. I ran to the fringe, to the dust and scratches, speckle and sharp mask. Now, if you look, the edges are not perfect, so what I got to do, try to stretch it into place. If we come over here, I'm going to use something else. I'm going to use the warp here. And then I got to stretch it into place. And I stretch it into place. Now, I forgot to light paint the background, but there's a solution. What I'm going to do, suppose this is a lighted area. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to stretch it. This is just for teaching purposes. This should be a lot lighter. And you can also do the blending, make it lighter. And the thing about this is you can angle the light, Control T. You can angle the light. I'm gonna go to my layers. I'm gonna just click OK. And you can also move it. It's a separate layer. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do Control T. There's all types of, you could put a lighted background in a layer. You could do all sorts of things. And you want to get in the habit of saving your work. I also feel there's too much space. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the crop. I'm going to crop some of this out. There we go. So this right here is the background. Or the best thing to do is to light paint the background, copy it over. But if you have a really lighted part of the photograph, you could select it and you create a separate layer. You could do a lot of stuff with this. Now I'm going to just put some digital frames on. So I'm going to save it. And then I'm going to export it. What I'm going to export is a quick export. Quality 100. I'll ask every time where I want to export it. And my copyright and contact info is on there. Then I want to convert it to sRGB. So I'm going to do it here. The setting's already there. So a quick export. And I'll just click save. And so here's my finished product. Okay, thank you for listening to this video. I will post this recording on my YouTube channel. Thank you again for listening.